We're calling from Voicing Martyrs Korean.
There are followers of Jesus all around the world, even inside the Maldives. And this broadcast is intended to bring encouragement to these Christians and also to bring hope to those who may not yet know Christ. In the Bible, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
No one comes to the Father except through me.
Tune in every day at the same time to hear content in both Dhivehi and English about the truth of Jesus Christ. And Elijah said to Ahab, Go up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of the rushing of rain. So Ahab went up to eat and to drink. And Elijah went up to the top of Mount Carmel, and he bowed himself down on the earth, and put his face between his knees. And he said to his servant, Go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, There is nothing. And he said, Go again, 7 times. This is the third week of healing and comforting. This week, everyone here knows, but for those who are listening online or watching the video, we had the tragedy in Colorado Springs of the wildfire. And this was worse than last year's Waldo Canyon fires. I don't know the exact numbers, but close to 500 homes have been lost. Well over 30,000 acres burned, and thousands upon thousands of people have been displaced by the fire. And I began to think of this because oftentimes when we experience tragedies, we are brought back to prayer. And I remember this in 2001, September 11th, when the New York towers were blown up by the airplanes, is that on the news constantly, all I heard about was prayer and churches, people gathering in prayer, and we can have a discussion on whether those prayers were good or not, or effective. There was a lot of non-Christian prayer. But just the idea that when tragedy or hardship strikes, many people are brought back to prayer or worship or church. This week I was watching the news with the Colorado fires, and there was a synagogue in Colorado Springs that the news showed. And they showed the rabbi preaching about what he learned from the fire. And I thought it was interesting that they highlighted this synagogue because the camera, I don't know if this was on purpose, but for most of the shot it made it look like this was quite the eventful service. And then they showed this large meeting hall with maybe about 5 or 6 people in it. But the point is, anyway, that in America, at least, we are called to prayer when tragedy strikes. And I read an article this week about a man named Martyrs who's a pastor. And he talks about when he was in college, his sister tragically passed away. But when he went to prayer, he found he